Welcome back to Human Behavior Lab. I'm New York, your host and observer. Today, we're looking at something quite different from our usual topics. We'll be examining a community event that's been quietly growing across the country, hands-on science programs for families.
Hi everyone, I'm Juan. When I first heard about this topic, I thought, isn't this just about kids playing with science stuff? But there's actually a lot more going on, isn't there?
Exactly. What appears to be simple family activities actually reveals fascinating psychological structures. Why do parents drive hours to attend these events? Why do children retain more when they touch and build? Let's observe the mechanisms behind this phenomenon. Let's start with the facts. The Hagley Museum in Delaware runs a program called Science Saturdays. Families bring their children to participate in hands-on STEM activities, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These aren't lectures. Children build, experiment, and create.
I've seen similar programs popping up everywhere. It's like every museum suddenly decided to become a classroom. What's driving this trend?
Several factors converge here. There's growing parental anxiety about education. There's also a shift in how we view learning itself. But most interestingly, there's a recognition that traditional passive learning has limitations. The data shows retention rates differ dramatically between passive and active learning.
So parents aren't just doing this for fun. They're actually worried about their kids' future?
That's part of it. But let's not oversimplify. The parents who attend these events often report high satisfaction. They describe it as meaningful family time. This suggests multiple motivations are at play, some practical, some emotional. The structure is layered.
When I think about it, my friends who take their kids to these things always post about it on social media. It's like they're proud of being good parents. Is that part of it too?
Indeed. There's a social signaling component. Participating in educational activities signals parental investment. But let's not be too quick to judge. This is a normal human behavior. We're social creatures who seek validation. The question is, does this motivation enhance or undermine the learning?
That's a good point. Even if parents are partly showing off, the kids are still learning, right?
Let's examine the psychological mechanisms. There's a concept called experiential learning theory, developed by David Kolb. It proposes that learning works in a cycle: concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Hands-on activities engage this entire cycle simultaneously.
Wait, can you break that down? What does that actually mean for a kid building something?
Of course. Imagine a child building a simple circuit. First, they touch the wires, concrete experience. They notice the light bulb glows, reflective observation. They think connecting this makes light, abstract conceptualization. Then they try different configurations, active experimentation. The loop reinforces itself naturally.
That makes sense. It's like they're learning without realizing they're learning.
Precisely. And this connects to another principle, embodied cognition. This theory suggests our thinking is shaped by our physical interactions with the world. When children manipulate objects, they're not just moving their hands, they're literally reshaping their neural pathways. The brain and body work together.
So when I sat through lectures in school and forgot everything the next day, that wasn't just me being a bad student?
Not at all. Research on retention rates is quite clear. Passive reading yields about 10% retention. Audio-visual content around 20%. But practicing by doing? Up to 75%. Teaching others reaches 90%. The physical engagement creates stronger memory traces.
That's a huge difference. Why don't all schools teach this way then?
That's a structural question. Hands-on learning requires resources, space, and trained facilitators. It's easier to deliver content to 30 students sitting quietly than to manage 30 individual experiments. Institutions often optimize for efficiency, not effectiveness. This creates a gap that programs like Science Saturdays fill.
So these weekend programs are almost like an escape from the system?
Now let's examine another layer. There's a phenomenon called the IKEA effect. Researchers found that people value objects more when they participate in creating them. This extends to learning. Families value educational experiences more when they actively participate together.
The IKEA effect. I've definitely felt that. I still have a wobbly bookshelf I made because I built it. Is that why parents get so invested in these activities?
Partially. But there's also social learning theory at work. Albert Bandura demonstrated that humans learn by observing others, especially those they identify with. When parents and children learn together, multiple processes activate simultaneously: modeling, imitation, and shared attention.
So when a parent and kid work on a science project together, they're both teaching each other?
In a sense, yes. The parent models curiosity and problem-solving. The child observes and imitates. But interestingly, the child also models discovery, which the parent observes. It becomes a reciprocal learning relationship. This is quite different from the traditional teacher-student hierarchy.
That's beautiful, actually. It's like they become equals for a moment.
Indeed. And this touches on something called self-determination theory. Humans have three basic psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Hands-on family activities satisfy all three. Children feel autonomous when they make choices. They feel competent when they succeed. They feel relatedness through shared experience.
No wonder these programs are so popular. They're hitting all the psychological buttons.
But let's observe the full picture. There's also opportunity cost to consider. Every hour spent at a Science Saturday is an hour not spent elsewhere. Parents are making implicit calculations about time investment. This reveals something about modern parenting psychology: the anxiety of optimization.
Optimization anxiety. That hits home. Sometimes I feel like every weekend needs to be productive or I'm failing somehow.
This leads us to broader implications. We're seeing a shift in how families conceptualize quality time. Previous generations might view family time as passive coexistence, watching television together, for instance. Modern families increasingly seek active, shared experiences. This reflects changing values about parenting and education.
But is this shift always good? Sometimes it feels like parents are putting pressure on themselves to make everything educational.
A valid observation. There's a tension between meaningful engagement and performative parenting. When parents feel compelled to optimize every moment, children may absorb that anxiety. The key question becomes: are families genuinely connecting, or are they checking boxes on an invisible parenting checklist?
How can parents tell the difference?
One indicator is presence. When parents are genuinely engaged, they lose track of time. When they're performing, they're often checking phones, taking photos for social media, or thinking about the next activity. The psychological state of flow is a good marker, that state of complete absorption in an activity.
Flow state. That makes sense. I've noticed the best moments happen when I forget about everything else and just am there with my family.
And this is perhaps the most important finding from our observation. Programs like Science Saturdays provide the structure for connection, but the psychological benefits depend on how families engage with that structure. The mechanism works best when presence is genuine.
So it's not about being perfect parents. It's about being present parents.
To summarize our observations, hands-on learning activates multiple cognitive systems simultaneously. Family participation adds social learning dimensions. The psychological benefits are real but require genuine engagement. These programs succeed because they align with fundamental human needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
I came into this thinking it was just about kids playing with science. But there's so much more happening: the learning, the bonding, even the social dynamics. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Indeed. Sometimes the most profound psychological structures hide within ordinary activities. Thank you for observing with us today. Until next time, keep watching the fascinating mechanisms of human behavior.